Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome State Representative and my dear friend, Jonathan Stickland.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all. You have to sit because I made the mistake of allowing a lot of politicians to talk before me and they're off schedule. Surprise, surprise. I yell at my consultant all the time because they write these generic emails and it's always this employee who's trying to please his boss or the candidate. So it's always this pat on the back and a lot of times artificial language. And I always tell them, you don't have to make me happy. Just tell the truth, support the facts. And I hate when people write, I am humbled for blah, blah, blah. But I have been sitting here all night trying to figure out how to express how I feel for this many folks coming out. And I have to tell you that I am truly humbled by your presence. But you will never see that in an email, so do not worry. 2 days ago, my opponent sent out a press release that said, Jonathan Stickland is not motivating the conservative base. I beg to differ. Thank you for being here. I hope that all of you feel like this event is about you. Guys, I think we're running out of time to get this thing right. We're running out of time because career politicians have taken over the politics. And it's not just Democrats, it's people in our own party. It's people who think they can spend money better than you. When I think about how many freedoms and liberties we've lost in the name of public safety and all these different things, it just makes me sick. The people who want to take money out of your wallet and strip your freedom away from you are very serious about their agenda. And that is why we need people who are not only going to vote the right way, but stand and fight for what we know is right. Tonight's evening was called Defend Texas Liberty, and I want to talk about that just a little bit. We are at war, and the enemy knows we're at war, and they know who we're fighting, and we should know who we're fighting as well. This isn't anything personal, but this is about freedom and liberty. Help make our friend Andy Cargile your next representative in Austin from District 92. This went out to an email list. This was forwarded to us by a friend of a huge email list of Democrats and educators here in our area, a few educators in our area. Dear friends and fellow educators, I am urging you to support our good friend Andy Cargile in his race for state representative, District 92. Andy is running in the Republican primary against a well-funded incumbent and desperately needs your help and support. It is time for us to stand up and be counted. Many primary races are decided by less than 20% of the registered voters. Your direct participation can and will make the difference in this race. It is all about which campaign gets the most folks to the polls. You know Andy, he is one of us. There are very few state legislators who are educators, even though education is the single largest budget item state legislators are charged with addressing in Austin. Andy will bring a much-needed perspective to restoring money to public schools, threats to our retirement system, and a host of issues we have spent our lives in trying to improve and secure. You can count on Andy to listen to us and understand our concerns. As many of you know, I am a lifelong Democrat, but I am practical enough to know that the real election in this race will be on March 4th not November. Whoever wins the Republican primary will be the next state representative for our area. So Pam and I are voting in the Republican primary and urge you to do the same. I have specifically removed the last name, but I want you to know that this is very, very real. In Texas, we have an open primary, which means anybody can come in and claim to be a Republican and cast a vote. And the folks of this community who are truly Republicans need to know that this is the enemy's plan. This is who we are fighting. The Democrats know they cannot win with a D next to their name. And they have put a man up who they know will support their liberal agenda on the Republican ticket. And that is why this evening is called Defend Texas Liberty. Because the fight is right here, right now. And I need your help. Texas. Our home, our friends, our family, and this country's future. Some people have talked about it, but I want to expand on it just a little bit more. Senator Patrick explained that if Texas goes blue, we'll never win the White House again, and I agree. Tarrant County is the last urban county that is still red. The majority of the votes in Tarrant County come right here in northeast Tarrant County, which is House District 92. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at ground zero right here in this building for the fight for the future of the county, the state, and this country. Liberty, the power of choice. Liberty is what made this country great. It was a place where you could come and risk your capital and put your name on the line no matter what your past was and be successful if you worked hard. Ladies and gentlemen, that is under threat right now. Because even some in our own party, do not truly believe in free market principles. They want to create unlevel playing fields for businesses for their own benefit. The free market isn't always pretty. And one of the frustrations that I experienced down in Austin was that most of the arguments coming from the other side were based on emotions. We get accused of not having a heart. Ladies and gentlemen, the people in this room, many of my church friends, we do have a heart, but we know that the government is not the solution to people's problems, and many times it is the cause of their problems. And what we need to do is to get government out of the way. Christ did not come and tell us to pay more taxes to Caesar so he could help the poor. Christ told us to help the poor, not the government. And let me tell you something about what we believe in. When we talk about what we believe in and are unapologetically Christian conservative, we win. We win. The last person to do it was Ronald Reagan. Go back and look at the map and look at what we have gotten since then. This idea is being sold to us that we have to moderate our agenda, that we have to sometimes even be ashamed of what we know is right to win an election, yet we do not win the elections. Ladies and gentlemen, the middle, the moderate, the establishment inspire no one. And the reason for it is because they stand for nothing. What we need to do is elect people to go down to the state house who do not define themselves by the position they do or do not hold, but allow themselves to be defined by what kind of person they are and by the Lord Almighty. That is what we need. We need people who are not only going to vote conservative, but fight for conservative values. We have to draw a line in the sand. Ladies and gentlemen, to turn this ship around, we must first stop it. And to stop it, we're going to have to say no more. No more business as usual. No more higher taxes, and I'm not giving up one more inch of my personal liberty because I do not need you to try and make my life better. I am responsible for myself. I can spend my money better. I know how to talk to my Lord. I know how to lead my family, and I do not need you to do it for me. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to reject these principles. The only way that we are going to get this back is by doing it ourselves. It is very easy to campaign as a conservative these days. Everybody has been a lifelong Republican. I supported Reagan. I was a member of the College Republican Club. And let me tell you something, it doesn't mean much when you get down there. It doesn't mean much. Talk is cheap. We have to elect people who are going to put the notion of personal responsibility back as number one. Put the Constitution in a place where it still matters. And put people before the special interests in Austin. I ask you to bunker down with me. I promise and I pledge to you that so long as I can and Chrissy will let me, I will fight for your right to live your life as you see fit instead of through government mandates. This is the battle. We are ready for it. This is one of the most negative campaigns in Texas history. In the last 6 days, we have received press release after press release of my opponent taking the truth, twisting it around, and using it for his own political agenda. He has refused to debate me on the issues. He has refused to tell us where he stands on his website. We know nothing except for Jonathan's a bad guy. Well, let me tell you something, Mr. Cargile, or any of the other moderates in this state. I am proud of what we did in Austin. I believe that the constituents in my district are proud of what we did in Austin, and we are not going to back down. And if you think that we were bold in that last legislative session, you ain't seen nothing yet, buddy. I hope you guys had a good evening tonight, and I think it's been just absolutely great. And I want to thank everybody who came out here and stood for Texas liberty. And I look forward to fighting side by side with you in the next election. And with your help and your support tonight, we will win. We will win. Thank you, and God bless.